No problem. Hold on. Let's go here. We're going live. I'm sending the signal now. Now, I was trying to find. Now, are you on Facebook?
I am.
What's your name on Facebook? How are you listed?
It's for Delano Wallace.
It's who? What's the name?
Same.
Jeffrey
Delano Wallace.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go. So if you if you search Jeffrey Delano Wallace, you'll find it, and you'll see a picture of my dad as the Facebook cover, and a picture with my son and I in the background.
Jeffrey, let's see. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff Delano. Jeffrey. Am I spelling it right? Jeffrey.
JEFFERYDELANO
All right, for some reason. I'll get you. That's all right. Not popping up, maybe because we're not friends.
Okay, it's not popping up?
No. Now, if you, well, you probably can't get on. Now let me get to you. Huh? No, you pull up. I thought I did see you. I was trying to find you before.
Okay, yeah, like I said, my father is on the cover, so you're not going to see a picture of me.
Okay. Hold on, as we go live, someone come on, I'm going to tell them to add in it.
So, Ramone, how long have you been doing this?
I have been, my company started in 2001. And started as a management company.
Okay.
So we managed some artists back in the day and then kind of grew to doing small business consulting, doing nonprofit consulting, and now do a lot of work with a lot of churches throughout the country. Yeah.
Okay.
Starting.
Well, congratulations to you.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you, man. But started based out of Houston and now live in New Jersey.
Okay. How you liking Jersey?
I like it in the summertime. Yeah, this winter is brutal.
I know it is.
Now, where are you from?
I'm originally from Kansas myself.
You from where?
No, Kansas.
Okay, all right. So how long?
No, I'm very accustomed to winters. Now I've been in Houston now for over 20 years, but that's one thing about Kansas I don't miss. I can't even imagine what you're going through up in New Jersey.
Okay. Yeah, so give people a chance to kind of get on. I'm going to share this in a couple of groups real quick. Let you know we are here.
You know what? Also, the Greater Houston Black Chamber also has a Facebook page as well.
Okay, all right. Let me see if I can grab that. All right, everybody, come in. Councilman Kevin Baxter, how you doing, man? Good seeing you. How's the family, sir? Got a Ewing City Councilman from Ewing, New Jersey. He's on the line. Good friend of mine.
Okay. Well, How are you doing, Councilman?
They're doing good. All right. Well, come on in the room, y'all. I've been so excited, man, about having this conversation with you. Been tracking you down, man, and hearing all the great stuff you are doing. I said I have to speak to this man.
Well, I appreciate that. It's always good talking to another progressive brother who's doing some positive things in the community.
Yes. Now, the Greater Houston page, what are they listed as?
And I'm sorry, the volume's going out just a little bit, Ramone. Can you repeat yourself?
What is the Greater Houston Business Council? Is that GHBC?
Greater Houston Black Chamber. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, man, we are live. So let's get at it, man. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, so I've been pumping you up. Haven't had the chance to meet you personally, but I've heard so many great things about you and the great work that you have been doing. And now I know you're kind of in a new role with the Greater Houston Business Council. So to everybody, welcome to this two-man talk. I am Ramone Harper, the author of It Takes Two, who is helping you lead with actually a book just released today on Amazon. So on Amazon, it is there. The ebook is doing a special today where you can get the book for 99 cents. If you download it today, just today only, the special release. So I'm doing what is called a virtual book release party all day long. And so I'm starting the day off with Mr. Jeffrey Wallace. He is in Houston, Texas. And so I'm excited to have him. And let me first say congratulations. I know you were at the Universal Soul Circus on Friday, but I had a release in Houston on Friday night, and I honored some people with our first It Takes Two Awards, and actually you were one of the people that I wanted to recognize. So I know some scheduling stuff came up, man, but I got something special for you I'm gonna have delivered to you. But Jeffrey, man, introduce yourself to my audience and kind of tell them who you are and where you're from and what you do.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, Ramone, to be on your show. As I said to you earlier, it's always a pleasure to be able to have a conversation with another brother that's doing some positive things, that is ascending to not only make himself better, but the community as well. So I am honored to not only have been recognized at your dinner this past Friday, but also honored to be a part of this conversation of your show. As far as I'm concerned, I'm originally from Kansas. I received a tennis scholarship to attend Grambling State University. And that, in case you didn't know, Ramone, is the baddest HBCU in the land. You know this better than others because
I tried to get all my jabs out the way before we got started, but I'm gonna let you.
You know, your school has the misfortune of having to play Grambling sometimes, and usually that doesn't work out well for you. But we're still brothers. It's all love.
It's all about honor today. After we get off, I'm gonna let you have it.
I graduated from Grambling State with a bachelor's degree in public administration and a master's degree in criminal justice. I have been in Houston now for a little over 20 years, and most of my work in Houston has been in the nonprofit sector. I had stints with a phenomenal organization called Inroads, which is a career development organization for talented minorities. It's actually an international organization. And I work with Gulf Coast Community Services Association, which is the largest community action agency in Texas. And for those of you who don't know, a community action agency is a federally designated nonprofit organization that helps people that are in poverty-stricken situations. Prior to coming to the Greater Houston Black Chamber. I was the Chief Operating Officer for the Houston Area Urban League. And after that, I was the president of the Altus Foundation for 4 years. And the Altus Foundation is a healthcare foundation that also helps people that are in need and are in dire need of medical services. Altus being a healthcare company that exists in Texas and based in Texas. But obviously this part of my journey now is something that's near and dear to my heart because I had the opportunity to truly engage and work with the African American community, and let me say the Black community in the Greater Houston area, because I don't recognize any divisions. I know that in 2018, where are you from? Are you African American? Are you African, etc. I really look at the Black community as being a whole, a collective, with a tremendous opportunity if we are ever able to put our resources together to literally change the world, change our circumstances and conditions, as well as make the community a better place. Understanding the viability of the Black community. I also failed to mention that I did have a stint in corporate America. I did work with Shell, work with their social investment, diversity recruitment efforts. So I've had an opportunity to really focus on what I call human enhancement. I consider that the track that I've taken professionally, and obviously, like I said, that's manifested itself through the opportunity that I have now to really do something that's transformative with the Black community.
Okay, all right. So, man, incredible resume. Now, you came out of Grambling when, in the 90s?
I came out of Grambling, graduated with my master's degree from Grambling. I went straight through in 95.
Okay.
And that I left in Louisiana, went to Houston. I've been ever since. Okay. Houston is a phenomenal city. I love Houston. Great community, great opportunity. So, like I said, the Greater Houston Black Chamber is, in my opinion, really in a place where we can do things that affect change both on the local, regional, national, as well as international level because of the dynamics that Houston brings to the table. Yeah. And the various elements of talent that exist in the Black community. Now, for those who are not familiar,
I was going to say, tell me about what do y'all do at the chamber?
The Greater Houston Black Chamber is an economic entity that exists solely for the purpose of advancing the economic infrastructure of the Black community and making sure that access is created for the Black community to the larger economic context. We do this by focusing on three critical areas. Number one, entrepreneurship and business development. Based on the population of the Black community in the United States, right now we are at the bottom of the economic totem pole in terms of entrepreneurship. Right now in Houston, for instance, we make up almost 25% of the population in Houston, but we only represent 3% of entrepreneurship in Houston. That is obviously something that has to change because obviously economics permeates everything that we do. Socially, obviously, in terms, even in terms of relationships, it's very important that the Black community, make strides in terms of entrepreneurship, owning more and having more say over our own personal economic conditions. We also focus on professional development. There are obviously a lot of successful Black people that are not entrepreneurs. So we focus on making sure that even if you are not the owner of a business or the operator of a business, still look at your personal life as a business. So you are doing things to amass wealth, to create a wealth legacy that you're able to move economically in a smart and transformative way. So we do a lot of engagement with professionals that work with a variety of different companies in the greater Houston area. And the last, and I think it probably doesn't get enough attention, is what we call responsible consumerism. Right now, there's a huge disconnect with the Black community in terms of the way that we spend outside of our community. Disproportionately, Blacks spend more with other ethnicities more than any other ethnicity in the country. And the fact of the matter is that many people enjoy the benefits of our discretionary income without investing in our economic infrastructure. So one of the things that we focus on is making sure that, that Black people understand that they have choices. That, you may have a grocery store that you shop at. You may have a gas station that you are loyal to. But the question that you want to ask in the long term is, where you're putting your money, does that necessarily constitute a return of investment? Do these companies invest in vendors that have ownership that look like you? Are these companies investing in academic programs that support the economic infrastructure of your community? And it's a very easy thing to find out. In a lot of conversations that I've had with a lot of people in the corporate sector, it's interesting. The Black entrepreneur is respected to a certain extent. The Black professional is respected to a certain extent. But Black consumerism is feared, because if consumerism is shifted or changed, it can change the dynamics of this country. So that we put a lot of emphasis in that, and that's one of the things in my time as the president and CEO of the Greater Houston Black Chamber that we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on making sure that when we spend our dollars, those dollars are earned by those entities that we are loyal to and we're putting our money in. We need to get that return of investment. So we have a very robust exchange of training, development opportunities, as well as networking opportunities. It's very important for people in the community to get together, right, to be able to have conscientious conversation, to be able to understand the opportunities that exist from doing business with each other, and creating a mobilization for economics that actually has impact. One rich Black person can do nothing, but several rich Black people can do a lot. And a lot of professional Black people who have an understanding of return of investment can do transformative things. So those are the things that we do. We also focus on advocacy, making sure that we have a representation and an impact in policy making, so that conditions that may have prohibited Black business from striving actually has opportunity, or actually is eliminated, so that entrepreneurs, professionals, et cetera, can have opportunities, again, to strengthen the economics in their community.
Okay. Wow. Man, I did not know y'all did all of that. That is incredible. So let me first say, man, congratulations on your new role as president and CEO. How long has it been since you've been in this position?
I've literally been in this role a little bit over 3 months.
Okay.
It's been a tremendous opportunity. I have recognized and I embrace. I am a huge proponent of creating legacy, and the chamber has some tremendous resources, in the greater Houston area. And my job really is to make sure that the Black community, from an economic perspective, has a voice, and it's a powerful voice. I look at it as a charge that I have to make sure that our economics have the ability to move things. And I think that we've had some very successful people in the greater Houston community, a lot of people who are doing well, people of color who are doing well. Our economic power has not been realized, and it hasn't been utilized to the full extent that it can be. I think nationally, the Black community represents collectively, I believe, the ninth richest country on the planet, but we don't necessarily facilitate our economic business that way. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we have just not mobilized. We've had some tremendous movements engineered by young people in the country, whether that's Matter, et cetera. But, you don't have to look any further than what took place in the 60s with the Montgomery boycott to understand that the mobilization of our economics can bring about real change. Now, I'm the first to say that the Chamber of Services organization, I put as a mandate for myself personally that my job is to create as many Black millionaires as I possibly can. There are a lot of organizations that do a lot of great work in the community from a social services standpoint, but my focus is economics. I want to make sure that our Black dollar is utilized to the fullest, and the impact is maximized.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. So some of the stuff you're talking about, if you just joined on, I have Jeffrey D. Wallace, who is the president and CEO of the Greater Houston Black Chamber. We're getting a chance to learn about what the chamber does. I'm excited. Some of the stuff you just got through talking about in my book that's released today, actually on Amazon. It's called It Takes Two, Who is Helping You Lead. And so when I was talking to a good friend of mine in Houston, Vernita Harris, who's the publisher for Who's Who in Black Houston, she was telling me a little bit about your story and telling me about what the chamber does. And so I told her I wanted to recognize some individuals in the city of Houston who was doing great stuff. We might not know their name, but we see the impact of their organizations and what they do. And so in the book, I talked to senior leaders who may be the CEO or president of a corporation about not trying to do everything by themselves. You need quality leaders on your team to help you move your business forward. I show them what to look for and the type of people. But then I also spend a lot of time talking to those who may assist people like you in your role. If they may be your COO or their vice president or an assistant in some kind of way, but they lead in their areas, maybe a CFO and finances. But I speak to them about how do you maintain longevity in that role? How do you not cross the line of, I want Jeffrey's spot, so I'm trying to take your spot and get you out versus supporting you in the team winning. And the concept comes from Michael Jordan. I talk about Michael Jordan and how he never won a championship until Scottie Pippen came alongside and helped him win. But Scottie didn't need the microphone. He didn't need the fans. He just wanted to win. So when I reached out to you, I wanted you to speak a little bit about that, like about the type of people that you like to have around you, supporting you. But then you have a different dynamic because as a nonprofit leader, you also have to be a two-man to your board of directors. So just kind of speak a little bit about that. We're not going to keep y'all long, probably another 5 or 10 minutes, but just kind of speak to that and your experience in terms of this whole idea of a two-man or support leader.
No, it's a great question. And before I proceed again, congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
I look forward to reading it. It definitely, appears to be a very thought-provoking exchange that I think anyone will get from reading your book. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
More Black authors. But I think people represent everything when it comes to progression. What I've always tried to do is have a very tight circle of people around me that challenge me. I think that the chamber is kind of a macro perspective of that, because a chamber is only good as the people who make up the membership. And, you know, this is the second oldest Black chamber in the United States. It's one of the largest Black chambers in the United States. So I've had an opportunity just in 3 months to come across a very eclectic group of people who have different agendas, who have different approaches, obviously who have different personalities. And the concept, I think, around anybody who does anything of note and does anything that has what I would consider to be long-lasting impact is that you have the ability to utilize your human resources in a way in which they don't work against each other. That is not an easy thing to do, particularly in the Black community, and I'm just going to be very candid about that. I think there have been conditions that have been put in place historically that make Black people sometimes a natural enemy of themselves. And, you know, as a Black man who obviously has been a professional for a long time, one of the best achievements that I have ever had is constructing a circle around me that works for the betterment of me. People who have no problem saying, "Hey, have you looked at this? I don't particularly like that, and I'm going to tell you why." Or have you considered this group of people that, you know, this decision may be alienating? And obviously, it's been very important for me because I've had you know, an assortment of executive level positions in the nonprofit sector. But I think your mantra, "It takes two," is extremely important because I can't do a thing by myself. What I am is a conduit to a lot of other human resources that creates a platform that hopefully will create like-minded agendas. So that, again, we don't work against each other, we actually work with each other so that we can create benefits for all. And that means, you know, that's a methodical process. That's sitting down with people one-on-one, like we're doing today. Making sure that, you know your facts before you actually open your mouth. Making sure that you are doing things with a collective spirit. You know, one of the first things I wanted to do when I got to the chamber is I wanted to have a men's conference. I said, you know, there has got to be more forums for men of color to be able to sit down and talk about what's really happening with us and establishing a real accountability for what's happening with the Black male demographic. You know, women right now, Black women right now, are the fastest growing entrepreneurship group in the United States. They are the most credentialed in terms of academic credentials in the United States per capita. And, you know, I don't hesitate in saying, men, we need to step up. We need to step up, and we need to evolve to a place of leadership again. And that's not discounting women. Of course, that's just saying that we need to make sure that we're making strides that truly create a real partner in our community to the successful Black women. So when I set out to do this, I immediately looked at collaboration. So I contacted the CEO of the Houston Area Urban League. I contacted the CEO of 100 Black Men, and I made it very clear, I'm not looking at doing any type of exchange like this, you know, through a silo. I want to work with people. I want to work with different groups that, you know, obviously have expertise in these particular areas. And I want to create an exchange that's going to touch a lot of people. The chamber could easily put on a men's conference that could probably yield, you know, 1,000 people. But if I'm working with other people other organizations that have merit, that have strength, that have capacity. Then you could put on a convention or a conference that has 3,000 people. And I'm not looking to create ripples. I'm looking to create waves with what we're doing. It's time. I think that, Black men are in a very critical position, and there's no point in trying to approach that from a monolithic standpoint as if the chamber has, the full capacity to address that. So these conversations, those kind of collaborations are imperative. And I think your question speaks to that. If you want real change, it has to be done with the collaboration of others. There is no independent solution to this. It is going to take the village in order to address a lot of things that we have going on in our community. But the fact of the matter is, we can actually do this.
That's right.
We can actually do this. And it just requires that we have a paradigm shift in terms of getting things done. So, to your point, it's absolutely a necessity, particularly in my role, to look at collaboration and partnership in all that I do.
That's awesome, man. But Jeffrey, man, listen, I appreciate you, man. I got to come sit in your office, man, and pick your brain. It seems like they picked the right one. You got the vision, you got the focus, you understand our partnership and collaboration. You almost went to the right HBCU. So listen, we behind you 100%. Man, but I'm not going to keep you. I got some other people who coming on, but man, tell the people, where can they find information about the Greater Houston Black Chamber? How can they become a member? Where do they go? Website?
Absolutely. And I appreciate you saying that. Usually when I'm talking to somebody from another HBCU that did not go to Grambling, it takes a little bit longer to convert them, to become a fan of Grambling. But clearly you jumped into that, and I appreciate that. We don't have to go through that long process. But to find out more about the chamber, you want to go to www. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Ramone.
No, go ahead. You on the right path now.
Okay. But you can go to www.ghbcc.com. That's www. Greater Houston Black Chamber of Commerce.com. www.ghbcc.com. And you can get information about what we're doing. In 2018, we're going to have over 60 different programming events. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for people to get involved in the chamber and really be a part of the movement that we have going on economically in Houston.
That's great, man. Well, thank you, man. Listen, I have a nonprofit organization called Turning Dreams into Reality that focuses on professional development for young men from HBCUs. And so I want to connect with you. I'm gonna call you because I want to bring my kids from the South to Houston and do some professional development stuff. So I want to talk to you about some partnering stuff we got going on. But Jeff, man, I appreciate you, man. We salute you on the new role. We behind you. All my people who watching now, who's gonna come back and watch this later. I just wanted them to learn about you, about the chamber, man, and get involved if you're in the Houston area. So thank you, man.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you doing what you're doing. You're putting a real voice to collaboration and partnership, and that's so essential. So I applaud you for your efforts, and I look forward, like I said, to reading your book.
Yes, sir. Y'all go get it. Amazon today only, 99 cents. The ebook is there. So Jeffrey, man, I'm gonna email you so I can get your number because I want to talk to you about some other stuff.
That sounds great, Ramone. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, man.
You too.